Everybody, welcome back. We're sorry about starting a mid-run at a whole bunch of issues anyway. We're doing the music change is amazing. We're doing just a Clockworks one. Jade Bishop. Party's always open all the time. Looking for people to come assist, be part of the fun. Oh, sorry. We are where a cat eats me. Let's go, Java. We are oh jeez. My defense, I did dash. That's what happens when you play other games for a while. You get spoiled as to what you can and cannot do, like right there. There's a chance I couldn't have dodged that. Even though I did, I forgot they were a thing. Anyway. We're going to try our best not to die. First stage. And also not to make this a pure Valance run. Come on, man. We got a shield for sword for a reason. Reason is at the top of our game. Holy crap, man. Our politics is just absolutely insane, by the way. We couldn't even... The Democratic Party in America, I don't know how many of you guys are into politics, but let me just break it down to you. So socialism has become like the new flavor in rebellion against the horde that is America. Now figure that one out, because we have a pretty good country here. Whoa, I did hit the button, but I guess I didn't. So the only alternative they have, because the presidential candidates on the other side are bad, is that they need to start a revolution and pitch a narrative that things really are that bad, but they're not. And the ingratitude of Ilhan Omar, for example, saying that she can't believe there's all these homeless people in America is unthinkable. She comes from Somalia, where they have like a 60% unemployment, or sorry, not unemployment, homeless rate. It's like, it's the ingratitude. It's just amazing. Anyway, the country doesn't need to change. A revolution does not need to happen. People just need to make it a little better. How we do this, though? It's always a question. So part of it is like, let me help you out. So what is communism? What is socialism? What is capitalism? Bernie Sanders is amazing and gaining support. Let's get this stuff from people. But like, why is that so appealing? First off, the media itself isn't like the hands of the enemy. We might as well pop this. I really don't want to bang out a spray or a spark if I don't have to. So because of that, you will hear things like, it is immoral to be a billionaire. Oh, almost got me. That was my fault. Need to harness my inner Smash Marth skills and just learn my distances again. So what is socialism? Now you have to, before you just go into Trump bad man, very bad man, so immoral that he did one thing and let's call him on it. Unfortunately, we can't because it wasn't really a criminal case. We just don't like him. That's basically the story of the impeachment and the big waste of time and taxpayer dollars that I went into. So there you go. I summed up the whole myriad monthly partisan meeting. Like only one side voted in one way and one side voted another. It's pretty similar. You have people on the other side. You Democratic. I'm not not Republican. And if you think I believe that Trump is like the best person on earth, you are sorely mistaken. For everybody has a moral character. His is not the highest, most pristine character. And I hope he wouldn't even try to argue that one because it's not very good. But my ultimatum for the political world is they're gonna make me vote for him again. I can't get around killing babies. You can't really convince me that to say that abortion is okay is just like saying that I don't want to believe science when life begins. The only thing separating you from the second the sperm meets the egg is time, food, water, and air. Same thing that separates like an 8-year-old from getting to where you are. Science says that becomes a new human being whenever they're created. So there you go. There's my rough argument for abortion. Even besides my Judeo-Christian worldview, which I have. You guys just did exactly what I wanted you to do. So let's start with capitalism. Here, okay, I'll give you a rough definition of capitalism. Capitalism, because you have to. Capitalism is the starting point. You need a starting point in order for the alternative, which is a leech, to leech off of it. You need strength in order to feed the leech. Socialism and communism, which is basically a half step away from socialism because it happens every single time it's tried anywhere in the world, will come about, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you didn't think you were going to get a political lesson. But, you know, it's relevant. And if you're not into that age group yet, I'm at least going to try to help you or give you my perspective. I would consider myself more libertarian. I believe the social values should hold a country together, not so much a government. Because once you put the government as being the ultimate answer to all of your problems, then you start to get into the whole point of, like, government is above God, let's erode social values, take everything out of school, there's no transcendence, life becomes meaningless, we actually make your life harder. Because as Nietzsche said it, you need the master slave race. It needs to happen. If not, they'll eat each other up. Or rather, the master race will just become a master race and eat itself up. You were already dead, my friend. That was very dishonorable. I apologize. So capitalism runs on the theory where you are in charge of your own labor. No one can take it from you. No one can steal it from you. Because you are given rights, not by the government, but by something outside of the government. Oh, that was bad. Something outside of the government. They're given to you either by a social value system first, or by a transcendent value system, which you can argue, you know, I would argue is God. Thank you. So you are in complete ownership in capitalism of your own labor. It is yours. In order to benefit, in order to, like, excel, you must make a trade, a mutually beneficial trade with somebody else who is in charge of their labor, and it does not owe you anything. Maybe they can further down the line, but they don't owe you anything straight up. That's how it starts. That is capitalism. That is how you build this country. This is Pearl Slime Pounds Cup. That's how you build, you know, all the wealth. Why do we see McDonald's and Pizza Hut and UPS and every other American thing in other countries, but you don't see, besides maybe like China one, right? You don't see a vast amount of chains here. Like Starbucks goes everywhere, right? There's a reason for that, because you don't put a cap on it. Socialism says you are not in charge of your own labor. It is not you. It is up to the collective to decide. Now, who decides the collective? Well, that's where it gets a little tricky, because that's where you get, like, electoral government, a democratic socialist, right? That's what Bernie Sanders says he is. There's no such thing. You're either a socialist or you're not. So once that happens, suddenly the people in power elect themselves to be in charge for, like, multiple years, decades, lifelong sentences. What do we have? We had the in China recently. The guy elected himself lifelong dictator. You know what? You can have him. So I'm going to go over here for a minute. So what happens is they will find a way, and they'll pump it up to people that I did switch weapons. You pump it up to people who are, excuse me, not as on par, or when a country gets too big, I would even say not as educated. When was the last time you looked up something about one of your governors? Like, this is almost like a full-time job, dude. Just to figure out who you should vote for. Almost. I'm not saying it is. You got a friend. So you take capitalism, you take the gain, the mutually exclusiveness. This is one of the reasons in this country you can see, like, you work one function, one job, and then you get to have all these things. I organize a bunch of guys who drive a forklift. That's my vocation at the moment. So because I do that, I get to have electricity. I get to have a house. I get to have a car. I get to have all this stuff, which is built up from a capitalistic system that no one owes you anything, that you need to use your own labor, that you need to work for what you have. This stands in sharp contrast to what socialism says. Socialism says, obviously, you're not in charge of that. We're going to give your stuff, we're going to take your money and give it to somebody else. If you're in a room, in an elevator with somebody who has 20 bucks, and you have 1,000, well, you're going to give like 500 of your dollars to them. Doesn't matter how you got it. Doesn't matter if you're older or not. Doesn't matter if you need the money later. You just have it taken. You make too much money. They do not. Even if they're unwilling to work, and it said that in the Green New Deal, that's still just the way things are. Because someone who is not part of the system, who is not close to you, who doesn't know your circumstance, who doesn't know your values, the government, the electoral majority. It's socialism is great, small scale. It is every time. I I own, right. I have a family. I have a wife and 2 daughters. I make more money than all of them put together. Does that mean? But we live in a very highly socialistic environment. I work, my daughters and my wife benefit. That's the reality of it. Works great. Why does that work so well? Oops. In the family system, you just go in there, let the mountain do its work. Because I can see them. Because of love itself, the dignity that we are given. I gotta stop getting hit, man. I'm gonna really start paying for this eventually. We are given dignity. We are made in the image of God and given and owed dignity from other people because of that. Something outside of ourselves gives us that dignity. It's my daughter's down the stairs streaming or something. She's sick. Off of school, by the way. That's why I'm allowed to do this. Or able to, rather. So what was I saying? So, small scale. Socialism works. Because you get to benefit. Love, by definition, says that, you know, I delight in you. My reward for spending money on you is literally me delighting in you. That's how love works. And love, you look at another person and you say, you make me want to be better. That can happen to a child, parent-to-parent relationship, and that's when you get like husband and wife, or, you know, bro love. So you have all that stuff, right? So how does socialism turn into communism? Well, you get this sense of bitterness. Once you put a cap on anything, once you say sky's the limit, once you do more than this, then there is no more. You cannot do anymore. You cannot make anymore. That is called minimalism. That is actually in our. I have a couple. Why am I doing so little damage to these guys? Shouldn't I be doing like 100 or something? I poisoned? No. I'm just. Jeez. He's like taking nothing. Wow, that took like a 30. Now, why is he taking double? Was the center guy protected? Was it a different tier? I'm very confused. All right, well, hey, we did it. So anytime you put a cap on something, people immediately say, well, why bother, right? And this is, so if you have a transcendent worldview, I would argue, you know, Judeo-Christian, you should always do your best. Oh, I'm so sorry. Cannot move. So it works great in a smaller scale. Once you put a cap on something, things stagnate. The doctors I talk to say they can't do any better, because if they do, the other doctors will make their life absolutely miserable because they have just raised the standard for everybody else. They're highly minimalistic for a reason. They need to be. Just to keep... otherwise, and you also have it, it's... because it's socialistic medicine, their rates, they do not get paid based on how well they do, based on their talent, based on their work. It's pretty flat. Now, location and raises might change, but that is set for you. That is like almost non-negotiable. That makes sense. But again, that only works. Socialism only works when you start with wealth. And the only way you start with wealth is by both people doing things when they make their trade. Oh, good, buddy. Okay, fine. Please, thank you. But both people make their trade, and then both parties benefit. That's ideally what happens. And that's it. You get a massive amount of wealth doing that. If you don't believe it, look at our Constitution. Look at the way that things are run in capitalism. How far we have come. Now, the morality of people and on the individual level, that can be debated. Now, obviously, I just touched on the president, right? And you get to hear Politics 101, the Good Spirit channel, because it's how I do things now. It's my creative outlet for, you know, what I see in the political era, what voices I listen to. It's an alternative, you know, you'll hear Trump say the fake news. Well, the fake news system, oh, can you please just go straight? The fake news itself, not really fake news. Sorry, it is. So here's what happens when you have an Aldous Huxley, who died on the same day as JFK and C.S. Lewis. He wrote his book, Brave New World, on the premise that there'd be so much information everywhere. People just wouldn't be able to distinguish or care what is true and what is not. And if you don't know what is true and what is not, then you erase meaning, because truth and meaning go hand in hand. And once you lose meaning, everything becomes meaningless. All that you have left is insanity and narcissism. This very cynical view. All right, there's a difference between a skeptic and a cynic. A skeptic will question things. A cynic will not believe you, even if you give them evidence. All right, so I've seen both sides of the coin. I'm trying, my man. I'm so sorry. I'm being like the worst partner ever. Just pretend I'm like freaking Harry Potter with my outfit. I don't know. So socialism is a half step way to communism. So Bernie Sanders, who's probably going to be the runner, or please don't just float into the spikes, man, against Trump. He pointed to Venezuela. Look how awesome they are. Look how awesome the Soviet Union is. Look how awesome Cuba is. Guess what happened to all those places? I mean, holy crap, man. You really got to be thick. And then he's like, Denmark, no way. They're amazing. Why are they amazing? Well, first off, talk to anybody in the government of these countries. They will tell you about the amazement and the benefits of capitalism. Turns out, we stop being hit. Turns out those countries themselves are highly privately owned. The amount of socialism, because Bernie Sanders did say he wanted to regulate all energy resources. He said this in the 1980, I think. All right, we need to pop a pill here. Something like that. So he's all about that. I mean, so don't get me wrong. I don't think one man's going to destroy our Constitution. Things like 200 years old is definitely a rarity. It's not an absolute. I mean, yeah, I think the average... I listened to a talk and the guy said, so I can't, I didn't do research on this part, but he said the average lifespan of any Constitution is like either 17 or 19 years. I remember in my mind, for some reason I categorized it, it didn't quite hit the 20-year mark. Not quite. We're doing good. My daughter's watching some of the newer Pokemon episodes, so one of the one of the things I make her do is tell me what she saw. Yeah, you only really know you know something if... And it's trash, hello. You don't really know you know something if you can tell it back to somebody else in a coherent level. To the point where they can understand it. So the interpretation of the story, and then it can go on from there. You take your knowledge and you share it with others. So when you hear socialism pitched in America, you hear a whole bunch of lies associated with it. Racism is an all-time high. It is not, with the exception of anti-Semitism. You hear our country's going down, the economy's getting worse, which is straight up false according to any statistic anywhere. Our unemployment rate's at an all-time low. Now what do you gotta... I mean, the deficit continues to go up, because here's the thing about politics, which is frustrating to just about no end. Can you just thank you? Alright, well, maybe Pokemon's taking some extra heat today. We got Tanda's trash. Get your gun out. I'm just flipping, teleporting all over the place here, buddy. See that dipsy doodle? Pretty awesome. What was I talking about? Anyway, so the falsities that a woman has a right to her body. That little... It's a sound of being shocked, I guess. And that's fine, but that goes against the definition of science. You hear cries against climate change when every single scientific consensus says that nothing is going to happen. Not only is nothing going to happen in the next century, they're not sure even if something did happen in the next 50 years, if it would do anything. They're not sure. They have no idea. So they're not sure that, and if America itself stopped it just straight up stopped, like the Green New Deal, which was basically said, let's destroy the American economy. If it stopped, then nothing would change. Because it turns out that America is like is the only country who signed that Paris Agreement that actually lowered their carbon emissions. Every single other country, I think with the exception of Germany, raised their carbon emissions. So, I mean, there's reasons why we do these things. The Iran deal, there's reasons why we pulled out. You'll just say, well, how dare we? That was a great deal. No, it was not. They were given like a 10-year span, then you could just like, you can do whatever after 10 years. Go ahead and make your nuclear weapons. We're all good. I'm cool with that. So he just pulled out of that, and that was that. The whole thing where like, so would you hear in the media about, what's the guy's name? I'm so bad with Iranian names, and I apologize. About the, oh, come on, just grab it. You hear the, are we gonna get through this, gentlemen? Oh, the terrorist leader, right? The one he shot up. Why did he do that? Was that in a vacuum? No, it turns out that you know what happened right before he why would you do that? Right before we did that, they burned our U.S. embassy. You don't hear this on the media. Why not? That's called a sin of omission. You know, he punched my mom in the face. That sounds horrible until you say, my mom came at him with a gun after he, killed his dog. So he punched her in the face. There's a difference between those two stories with context involved. Holy crap, man. So that's called a sin of omission. And this is just getting ridiculous. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll get this guy. I did. About dead. I do not like shock Sam I am. Alright, let's go. Yes. So there you go. There's roughly the definition between capitalism and why. So there's the other question, right? I guess I'll leave this for the next video. Why is there such a hype for something that, and they will just say capitalism is a moral evil. There's nothing wrong with working for what you have. This is built into our flesh. You do push-ups, you get muscles. It's like built into our being. It makes sense logically. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, click like button, subscribe if you want to see more in the future, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.